Hello, people. In this past week 5, I know I'm a little bit behind. A lot of things going on. Basically just personally, problems, and along with other stuff. But anyways, here I want to talk about today. I want to talk about a topic in relation to American history, the Nashville sit-ins. Um, no, I'm sorry, I said Nashville sit-ins. I mean the Compromise of 1877. And if you, a lot of y'all aware of the Compromise of 1877, it was agreement that was made to settle the election of 1876 between Democrat Samuel Tilden and Republican Rutherford B. Haynes on the election. Basically, especially on the states of Louisiana, South Carolina, and I think Florida. I think Oregon as well. But basically, this election, Samuel Tilden had the popular vote and had 184 votes, and it was near close to victory. But it still was few states disputed: Louisiana, Florida, and Louisiana that still needed to see who give the elections. One thing about the national sit-ins that to known is it was basically what happened in the Compromise 87 will remove troops from the South, and of course what led to the Jim Crow against blacks in the South. But I'll get to that. Before I get to that, the three sources that I found, the first one was Alan Pushkin was there a Compromise of 1877. Charles E. Waynes, James Wormley of the Wormley Hotel Agreement, and Barbara O. Steffens, the Magnum Daphne in the Compromise of 1877. In the first article, Piskin basically explains the close election between Tilden and Haynes. Piskin talked about despite Haynes winning the popular vote, there were still southern states, Louisiana, Florida, and certain and South Carolina votes still disputed. Basically, agreement. He talked about agreement. There was a secret meeting that occurred at the Wormley Hotel in Washington D.C. Was a secret meeting discussed between Democrats and Republicans about giving the election to Rutherford B. Haynes if he agreed to remove troops from the South that was protecting blacks at the time to basically win the election and give the votes to him. Um, basically, basically, Wayne's article, the second source, basically talk about the Compromise 87 goes in depth about what happened occurred in the meeting at the Wembley House. One thing to notice about the Wembley House meeting was that a lot of people don't notice the history that hotel, which now exists no more, was basically owned by an African American named James Wembley, who was a predominantly black businessman in the Washington D.C. area. Just some little history facts to understand that it was owned by a black man named James Wormley, who owned that house, hotel. I mean, and that's where they had the meeting though, where it was discussions for Rutherford B. Haynes to give him electoral votes for his agreement to remove troops from the South that basically leave blacks to fend from the South. Basically, the third article basically fictional character basically explains just about how the Compromise 1877 affected African Americans. They leave them abandoned and fend from themselves, and just basically was betrayed by the government and all the promises they had during Reconstruction. But overall, Compromise 1877 is people that it's a really important moment in history. In fact, if you look at the election of 1876 between Samuel Tilden and Rutherford B. Haynes, you can compare it to close elections like George W. Bush and Al Gore election 2000, and how Florida was disputed between the two. How Al Gore won the popular vote, and despite that, they still gave Florida to George W. Bush. Of course, in my opinion, the reason why they did that because his brother Jeb Bush was governor of Florida at the time. The Supreme Court made a decision. But you can still look at it this though. You get put like Al Gore, like Samuel Tilden was like an Al Gore, and Rutherford B. Haynes was like a George W. Bush, and basically was a controversial election. And the only way to win the election, both Haynes and Bush, because Haynes came with an agreement for them to take troops from the South to leave blacks defend for themselves in Reconstruction, and basically lead to Jim Crow segregation that occurred for the next 50 years until the 1950s. 50s came along, which public accommodation was segregated between black and whites in the South. So I think this Compromise 1877 and the election of 1876 is what many, not just historian people, need to study and understand, and the impact it had, especially among African Americans in the South. It's like a very, really interesting topic. I remember doing this topic, doing my one of my master courses and stuff, and I learned a whole lot. I said, wow. But this discussion, though, basically want to talk about American history, the Compromise of 1877, or the Great Betrayal, or basically that marked the end of Reconstruction. It's a really fascinating topic, in history, but especially, as a lot of people was not aware about that the median was at the hotel was owned by African American. A lot of people don't know that. So that's just very fascinating stuff to learn by James Worley. But that's all I have to say, though. I hope you enjoyed the video. You have a good day.